Guys, welcome to Ask Auntie Nella Live. So tonight's topic is a discussion about when a woman's fed up. And so this can go for, I'm going to say for both ways, men or women, but especially men who are dating women, because a lot of times what happens is they continue to pile, stuff on and heartache on to an already stressful situation. So I just want to give, the guys some signs out there. When we're fed up, sometimes it's no matter what you do, we will never, you will never regain that trust or, that loyalty or that relationship back. So while we're waiting for some people to log on, I want you guys to go to my YouTube. You'll hear me say this every week. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to Ask Auntie Nella. Continue to, invite friends. I really appreciate that. And don't forget, again, to subscribe to Ask Auntie Nella on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. That way, like I said, when I transition over onto the YouTube channel, I will have all my followers who are on here as well. Let a friend of a friend know that Ask Auntie Nella is on. Share it. Let them know that I'm on live, so that way they can jump on to Ask Auntie Nella as well. You'll see me, looking down at my phone periodically, because that way I can see the comments and I can see when you guys come on. The other thing I want you to do is when you come on, say hi to me. So I'll know you're on. Come with your questions, ready to answer some of your questions. We'll wait for a few more people to come on Ask Auntie Nella Live. Just give me just a second here. I'm looking on my phone here to see who all we might have on Ask Auntie Nella live here. I'm waiting for it to come up here. So we'll wait to see who's all on here. And once you guys get on here, say hi. Hey guys. Thanks for tuning in. So with that said, I'm going to start here. I'm going to go ahead and just jump on board and dive straight in like I always do. Don't forget to send your questions through. If I see you come through with a question, I'll definitely read that question and answer while we're going through the discussion. But I hear from a lot of men as well as women that a lot of times the women have done everything they can do while they're in the relationship to prove to that guy that, hey, I'm in it to win it. But he continues to make the mistakes. He continues to treat her wrong. He's disloyal to her. He continued to do all those things to her. And she probably gave him 4, 5, 6 chances. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chances to do right by her. And he didn't do right by her. Well, at that point, she decided, I've given my all. I've given my heart, my soul, my body, everything to this person. And I'm getting nothing in return. So for me, I'm going to get to the point where I'm unbothered, where I don't care. Well, no matter what you do to me, it's not going to hurt me because I'm checked out. Because I'm so fed up, I'm done with the situation. Some of the things guys would know is, if you have a girlfriend or a wife that's checked out of the relationship, they're not going to put their all into it. And what I mean by that is, some of the stuff that they did before, they're not going to do currently today. Some of the things that you might say to them that might irritate them or hurt them may not hurt them. Because at that point, you can't do anything else to them that's going to hurt them. You can't do anything else to them that's going to cause them to change their mind and give you another chance. And so at that point, what I call this, they're burnt out of the relationship. They're burnt out of the marriage. Because they've had so much hurt. They've had so much heartache. They've had so much pain throughout this process. For them, they no longer are willing to give you an ounce of them anymore. At this point, all they're trying to do is find a way to survive and get out of this relationship. Find a way to survive and get out of this marriage. So at that point, no matter what you do, you're not going to change their mind. So at that point, you just almost in an instance have to say to yourself, well, you know what? I've done all I can to try to prove to this person that I want them back. I've done all I can to try to prove to this person that I'm in it to win it. And you might have to give them some space, because here's the thing. There might be a point in time where later on in life, or later on some months where you guys have had that separation, and now she sees a different side of you. And so she's willing to give you an opportunity to creep back in. Now, I'm going to give you a disclaimer with that. It's okay to give somebody a chance if you've given them 4, 5, 6 chance and you're not, you've gotten to your rock bottom, but you've separated and you've seen a change in them. So in your heart leads you, you know what? I'm just going to give him a chance. What I will say to you is, if you're going to give him that chance, don't go all in. And what I mean by don't go all in, play everything by looking, play everything by hearing. What I mean by that is, allow them to show you that they're a changed man. Allow them to show you that they value you. Allow them to show you that they're worth you having. Don't go into it all in head first and be like, you know what? It's been 6 months and I see a different change in them. Sometimes people create change because you're gone. And then when they get you back, they're right back to the old shenanigans. So that's why I say to you, don't ever give your heart 110% in a situation when you're not sure about where that person's mindset is. You don't ever want to continue to put yourself in a space where hurt continues to happen. You don't ever want to put yourself in a space where you feel devalued. You don't ever want to put yourself in a space where you lose your self-worth in the process. Don't ever do that for, I don't care who they are. Don't ever do it. Because then what you do is, now you've given them a second chance to hurt your heart. Now you give them a third. You've given them those opportunities to continue to hurt your heart. At some point, you have to stop and say, look, did this man show me from the beginning when I decided to come back, did he show me that he was all in? Did he show me that he valued me? Did he show me that he wanted me back? You have to allow that to happen. Another thing you don't ever want to do, never look at a relationship or a situation with somebody who's already hurt your heart or broken you down or done all these things to you to get you to the point where you're fed up. Don't ever put yourself in that position where you go back into it, giving them a chance, and you got your blinders on again. And what I mean by that is, you are totally blinded. Because now what you've done, you allow your heart to make a decision for you. Don't allow your heart to make a decision, because here's what I will tell you. Your heart will always make the decision for love. Your heart will always have blinders on it because you're feeling those fuzzy feelings. Oh, he truly loves me. All it takes is a few things for that person to do to show you that you think they're truly in love with you, or that you think that they're truly, down for getting you back. So go into it with a clear vision. Go into it with a clear vision and see. Start to pay attention to little things that you probably didn't pay attention prior to. But start to make sure you pay attention to those things and call them out on it. Don't be afraid to call them out on it. It's your heart that's involved. Protect your heart with everything that you have. Because if you don't protect your heart 110%, they won't. So we have a few comments. Let me look here and see. I'm looking down at my phone. So let's see. At one time, and this is from Kenneth. Hi, Kenneth. At one time, I was guilty of everything you are talking about. But we must see God first to see if this person we're supposed to be with. And I agree. God should always be the center of everything you do. Because here's the thing. If you allow God to lead you in the direction of where you need to be, then you're going to get the person that God sent to you. But again, if you're making a decision and you're making a decision from a gut feeling, again, what you are doing is you are allowing your heart to involve your mindset or to involve your feelings. And that's not what you want to do, because when I tell you you allow that to happen, then you allow storms to hit you from every direction that you weren't even prepared for. But God should always be first. Anytime I'm going through a struggle, or anytime I'm going through a situation where I need to talk to my husband, or I think, you know what, he may not know where I'm coming from, I always, and I say this constantly, I always will pray to God. God, allow me to have this conversation with my husband and make sure he's opening his ears and heart to know that I'm coming from a good place. That's what you want to do, because you don't ever want to go into discussion, a conversation, and it turns into an argument. If that happens, nobody wins in that situation, because he's not hearing you and you're not hearing him. So let's go here. Let me see what else is on here. Angela, a lot of women lose themselves with men. That's typical. That's typical, and it's typical if you've been in a relationship and you're throwing yourself into it, but you're not taking baby steps to sit back and allow yourself to realize, you know what? I want to make sure he's on the same playing field I'm on. I want to make sure his heart is beating almost to the same beat that I'm beating in sequence, to make sure if I love him, he's loving me. A lot of times with women, we love hard, we love fast. And what I mean by that is we're throwing our all into the situation. And sometimes when we throw our all in a situation, we then assume that that man wants exactly what we want. And that may not always be the case. You want to make sure you're taking baby steps, but you're also creating checkpoints throughout your relationship. And what I mean by checkpoints is you're checking in to make sure, is he on the same level I'm on? Ask the question. Nothing wrong with being honest, just asking an old question and say, look, I just want to know, where do we stand in this relationship? Or where are your feelings in this relationship? But here's the thing. Allow him to give you an answer. Do not cut him off and create an answer for him. Because a lot of times we don't often like to hear bad things. So we don't often like to hear, the other person say, you know what, I'm, not quite ready. Because then your heart is hurt at that point because you feel like, I'm all in. Why isn't he all in with me? Everybody can love differently. Just because you're on that level at that point and you fell in love doesn't mean they're at that level. They can get there, but you have to be willing to allow them to get there. So you want to put those checkpoints out there to make sure you're checking in to see where you are. Because again, that's where communication comes at. Communication allows you to allow your relationship to grow. So communicating is something that's going to always be key in your marriage, always be key in your relationship. You can't bypass it without having that communication. So let me see what else is out here. Melanie said, yes, the heart can move in emotions, and that's not safe most of the time. All of the time it's not safe, because a lot of times we allow our heart to create, even though we're getting all the signs we know that's not healthy for us, we still want to continue on, because guess what? Our heart is involved in that. Kenneth, Melanie, yes, allow him to order your steps. Most of us don't understand because we are not seeking God first. And that's absolutely true. You have to see God to get that understanding that you're looking for. It's important. It's truly important, you guys, to see God and, ask God to guide you. There may be a point in your life, and when I say this, about, when a woman's fed up, everybody have their fed up moment on different levels. I might be fed up after the second time you screw me around. Somebody else might be fed up the first time their spouse or partner screw them around. The next person may give their partner 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Doesn't make them right or wrong. You are your own individual. Your life and your relationship is going to follow the way you want it to follow. You have to make that decision. Don't ever let somebody come in your space and tell you when you're done with your husband or your partner. Don't ever let anybody. Because here's the thing. People can change. But it's important to know the difference in changing or covering it up. And what I mean by that is, if you're changing, I'm going to see the change in you. But if you're covering it up, what you're doing is you're masking it for a moment. So I've changed at this point for a month. And then after that, you just rip the covers from off it and that old person comes back. So that's why it's important to keep your eyes and ears open if you're going to give them another chance. Because the key thing is action shows. They're going to have to show me if they're willing to change. Your actions are going to show me. If your actions don't reflect what's coming out your mouth, then nothing else matters to me. Because those two work hand in hand. And what I mean by that is, if you're saying that you're ready and you're willing and I'm here, I'm in it to win it, but you're doing different things that's showing me that you're not in it to win it, and you're not quite here, you're just talking jabber to me, then that's a sign for me at that point where, you know what, you haven't changed. I'm not going to allow you to walk all over my heart. I'm not going to allow you to misuse me, because that's not who I am. All right, let's see here. All right, so we have another question. What if he loves too fast? She has her walls up, but then once she releases the walls, he take advantage, want to be in control and manipulated. That's the part where it's going to be key. So I'm going to address the first one. Again, we as women, we do love really fast and we love hard. If he's not there, and you allow to pull your walls down of protections, or your what I call a defense mechanism. You allow that defense mechanism to, kind of lay to the wayside and open up to them, and then you're thinking they're going to be on the same page where you are, but then they could become manipulating and control. That's something that you can't control. And what I mean by that is you would have never known that until you let your walls down, or your past hurt, move away from that situation. So that's something you can't change. What I will say is, at that point, if he's creating manipulation and he's creating control and manipulation, you clearly are recognizing that something is not right by that. At that point, you have to make the decision as a woman or man. You have to make that decision. Do I continue to move forward in this relationship? Do I continue to stay? That's where big girl and big guy decisions comes into play. A lot of times, even though we're adults, we're grown, we got kids that are grown, we got grandkids and all this, a lot of times we're walking around this world still living in a kid's mind. And so you have to learn how to make adult decisions that's going to benefit you and your heart. You have to. I would say take some time, to connect with God and allow God to lead you in that direction, because I could give you my advice, which is exactly what I do on Mondays. I can give you my advice. My advice is not something that's written in stone. That's not it. My advice is advice that I'm going to give you. You can take bits and pieces of my advice and use it to benefit you. You don't ever want to take everything I'm giving you and say, oh, Auntie Nella said I should do. No, because then what you're doing is you're living Auntie Nella's life, or you're living Auntie Nella's advice life. And that piece of it is you have to be careful, because where do your ownership in your relationship come? Where do your ownership in your marriage comes? You have to own up to it. It's okay to be in a relationship and figure out in that relationship that person is controlling and manipulative. It's okay for you to say, you know what? We need to have a conversation. I finally decided to, release the wall around my heart. And now I'm releasing the wall around my heart. And now I'm seeing you're trying to control me. Now I'm seeing you're trying to manipulate me. Address it wholeheartedly. Don't let it get by. It's okay, but make sure your delivery and tone is on point. Don't ever go to a conversation that you're going to address something that may cause conflict and you're mad about it, because no one wins. No one wins. Okay, so this is Kenneth. If she's a godly woman and she's prayed and seeking God first, everything in the darkness that he's doing will come to the light, and vice versa. If he's seeking God first and praying, everything that she did, everything that she's doing will come to light, and it will. That's why it's important to make sure you see God. A lot of times I hear a lot of women say, you know what, I'm waiting for my Mr. Right, and I thought I had Mr. Right, and I found out he wasn't, he wasn't for me. I figured out that he wasn't for me. What I take from that is you didn't have a relationship or a conversation with God, because what you did, I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't say you didn't have a conversation with God or the relationship wasn't there. You had that. You may have had that conversation with God, but what you did is you allowed flesh to change the outcome. Even though God is giving you all the signals, God is giving you all the signs. What you've now done is you have now said, well, God sent him my way. No, you just jumped the gun, because at that point your flesh told you different. So it's important to wait. God may not, you may pray tonight and ask God, please, God, send me, my Mr. Right, send me my Prince Charming, blah, 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 vice versa. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the first man comes your way. Oh, God, answer my prayers. Let me tell you, God moves on his time. God does not move on your time. So you need to seek to understand when that person appears. Go get back on bending knees and say, God, I just want you to show me if this is the man for me. If you got that relationship, God will define that answer for you. So we just have to sometimes be patient. We want a relationship, we want a marriage so bad, we fall head first into it, and we're not seeing the outcome of it. So that's another thing that's key. So let me see what else we have on here. So we have Teresa Wright, love you back. Kenneth, we have to clean up our past first, our own part that is causing a problem in our relationship. Bingo. Kenneth, I love that you brought that up because I talk about that a lot. I tell people, and I just put a post on my Ask Auntie Nella page just I think last week. One of the things that you have to do is when you're single, and one of the things I shared with my first video in 2018 is one of the things that you've been in a relationship, there's been heartache, there's been, a lot of turmoil in that relationship, and you're now free, and you've now, broken out of that relationship. You have to give yourself an opportunity to grow. And what I mean by that is you have to create checkpoints within yourself to start to, question yourself. Well, what is it that went wrong in the relationship? What can I do better in the next relationship? It's okay to be alone. Nothing's wrong with being alone. Once you're alone, take some time to connect with you, because I don't care what relationship you're in, whether it's 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 20 years, you will lose some of you in that relationship. So that's why it's key to, take some time and work on you. Because here's the thing. If you take some time to work on you, if you take some time to get rid of that old baggage, you then don't have to worry about bringing that old baggage and that past hurt to your current relationship. That makes you a healthier you for your next Mr. Right that comes your way. That makes you a healthier you. And so it's important to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. You know exactly what you're going to deal with. You know exactly what you're not going to deal with. Because that allows you to have all your tools ready. So when you get into that relationship, you've done everything that you need to do. You have everything you need to move forward in your relationship and allow growth and healthy growth to happen. All right, let's see here. Amen, Jessica, yes. Angela, speak. So I'm going to say it's important to know that in any relationship you get in, and this is any relationship, male or female, know your rock bottom. And I do talk about this a lot. Your rock bottom may be different from my rock bottom, but always create a rock bottom. And what I mean by that is, before going into a relationship, know what you can put up with and know what you can't put up with. Because here's the thing, if you go into that relationship and not having those things, then what you do is you start to accept things that you're not willing to accept. And that piece of it is not healthy, because then what you've created is you've created the perfect rug, the perfect floor mat for, guess what? Your partner or your spouse to walk all over your heart. And who wants to lay their heart out there and allow somebody to just trample all over it? You don't want that. And so know your rock bottom, know what you can put up with and what you can't put up with. And when you see the signs, make sure you address the signs. Don't let your emotions, don't let your heart, don't let anything else change your mindset. Because a lot of times you're going to go through some bad apples before you get to the good one. There's some things that you're going to go through before you get to it. But one thing you don't ever want to do is give up on love once that situation has happened. Because at that point, you've done everything you can do in that relationship, in that marriage. You're probably at the point, you know what, I'm done, I'm checked out, I'm fed up. I can't move any further. Nothing means anything that comes out of his mouth to you. No matter what he's trying to do, he can send you 10 dozen of flowers. None of that matters anymore. Because you're at that point where, you know what, you've burnt the candle down. You've burnt the quick that's in the candle completely out. It's done. It's burnt. There's nothing I can do. I can't redo that quick back in there because it's burnt. It's done. And so at that point, you're fed up. You're done. No matter what they do, you're going to ever look back on it and say, you know what? I can't give you another chance because you've hurt me so hard. You hurt me so bad. I can't move forward from this. It's okay for you to feel that way because, again, your heart is your heart. Protect your heart at all costs. Don't let anybody else do different. So let's see. We can heal first so we don't carry the baggage into the next relationship. It's so funny. Yeah, Kenny. I was just thinking to myself as I'm reading your comments. You're in my head, Sister God. But God, you're on point. One of the things I really try and do is I try to give people information and advice that, I would have wished I had it being with my husband for 29 years. I wish I had that advice. And so my goal is always to make sure I'm giving people the tools that they need to make sure you have a healthy relationship, you have a healthy marriage. I don't ever want a male or a female to get to the point where they're fed up and they're checked out and they're not, no coming back from it. Sometimes they're checked out and they're done with a relationship, and it could be stuff that's fixable. But because the other person don't realize that they can fix that, they continue to add on the hurt. And the other person who, is getting the hurt don't realize it can be fixable because they don't know how to address it to fix it. So then a marriage or a relationship crumbles. And so it's already enough divorce that's going out there. I hope that advice that I'm giving you guys, you take this advice and utilize this advice to create a platform or, create a footprint for you in your life, in your marriage, in your relationship, to make sure you don't have to worry about, going through some struggles. One thing I will say, every struggle, every wound, every stripe, every hurt, every heartache, every disappointment have built me to be the woman I am today. As I sit here today, I don't ever want somebody to think, you know what? She's probably just talking and she hasn't been through it. I've been through it all. I've been through it. I don't want you guys to think my past relationships, my marriage is peaches and cream. You're going to go through some stuff. But you have to know the stuff that you're going to go through is what you're willing to tolerate. And I knew going into it, there's some things that I knew I wasn't going to tolerate. So if that situation comes up, then I already know at this point my heart can't change it, because I've already set this in stone. This is what I'm not going to put up with. And so if you create that, then that allows you, when it does come your way, you recognize it and you either, check it right away, or you decide, you know what? I'm not putting my heart out there anymore. I'm done. I'm fed up. I'm going to move forward. So let's see. Correct, Melanie. Don't wait until it's too late. You dummy down for less. Don't dummy down for too less at all. Don't do that at all. Don't dummy down at all, because dummy down allows you to, allow them to continue to, do the things that they're doing. That's not important. It's not important for us to, dummy down for any relationship or any marriage, because then what you're doing is you're setting yourself up.
Melanie also had a question and stated, Auntie, do you believe there's still some working on yourself when you're currently in a relationship?
I do believe that you should always have some time. What I say is me time for you. Create your me time. A lot of times what happens is we tend to lose ourselves in our marriages and our relationship. And what happens is we tend to worry about our kids, our husband, our grandkids, but we fail to realize what's important to us. And that's why I always tell people there is always a point in a relationship where you forget about you. You forget about you. You're so focused on making everybody else happy till you don't make yourself happy. Take some time. I will always say, take like one day out of the month and say, you know what? I'm going to do something that's good for me. I'm going to do something that makes me feel good. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Do something that's going to make you feel happy and pleasing about it. But you can lose yourself in a relationship, and you should always be allowing yourself to have that space, or allowing yourself to have that space or that time to make sure you are resetting you. And what I mean by that is resetting you is allowing you to pour nourishment into you, allowing you to pour value into you, because it's key and it's important. So let's see what else we got out here. You guys are typing away. I love it. All right, so let's see here. What else is out there? Another thing I'm gonna say too while I'm looking through these things is, when you're wronged, or when your partner or your spouse is saying to you, look, here's what I'm seeing. Don't ever brush their feelings to the side. Don't ever, because what happens is when you do that, you set up the outcome to happen that, you know what, that woman is fed up and checked out of the marriage. And so that's why it's always key to make sure when you're going, or your spouse is coming to you, letting you know what they're seeing, and they just like, you value that. You value that, and start, before you respond, like, nah, that's not me. Da, da, da. No. Take some time to sit back and say, you know what, I appreciate you taking the time to come to me and tell me that. I'm going to reassess it and see what I can do better or see if I can change. That's what you want to do, because let me tell you something. You will never recognize your weaknesses. We won't. That's just who we are. That's just how we're cut out. Women or man or woman. That's not something you will recognize, because we're so focused on what we do great, or we're so focused on our strengths. We sometimes look over our weakness. But what you have to understand is weakness allows growth. Because if somebody's coming to you to tell you something that's an opportunity that you can be better at or you can fix, that allows growth. But if you're living in this world and you think you are on 100% all the time, you don't have no bad, there's no, opportunities, out there for you, then baby, you're living life with blindfolders on. Because everybody have opportunities, whether it's in a marriage, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's on a job, whether it's with your kids. No matter what it is, everybody has opportunities to work on. Nobody's perfect. And so don't ever walk around here with your blindfolders on thinking I'm perfect and I'm always right, because that's not the case. You set yourself up for false feelings. You set yourself up for false hope. And what you do is you are putting yourself out there as if I'm all set up. I got it all going on. No, baby. Reset and recheck yourself, and I promise you'll see a difference. If somebody coming to you, you have to value them enough and thank them enough that they had the common courtesy to come to you and give you opportunity. One of the things I thrive off most is I thrive off opportunities. People may come to me and tell me, oh, you know what, you're really good at blah, 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 blah. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. But see, when they come to me to give me that opportunity, my response is always this. Thank you so much. I'll make sure I work on this opportunity so I don't have to revisit it again. Because I know that opportunity is going to give me more growth than my strength already has given me. So I applaud people who can come to me and give me that opportunity. Don't ever, ever, ever think that, when somebody's coming to you to give you an opportunity, your first response should be, I need to snap them up. I need to, cold check them. No, if they're coming to you and they give you an opportunity that you may think, some of it is not quite what you're seeing, or they're right on it and not quite right on it. Pray about it. Ask God to reveal it to you and allow you to see it for yourself. But don't ever take that opportunity that they're giving to you and dismiss it. It's not healthy and it's not worth it. Let me see what else is out here. We should minister to Christ in our relationship. We should. When you get married, is what? You, your husband, and God. Pastor says that down the aisle. From Teresa, it's so funny how a true love relationship can turn into a hate relationship. I've tried all my life not to hate anyone, but sometimes about boy, he can bring that he can bring me to that point. Here's the thing I'm going to say to you. I get that. I get the fact that people can bring the worst out in you. But at some point in your life, you have to get over that hate. And here's why it's important to get over the hate. You're not getting over the hate for them. You're not belittling yourself for them. But what you're doing is you're getting over that hate for one reason. You and you only. Because if you don't get over that hate and you don't get past that big elephant in the room, and you walk around hating a person, then you can't grow. You can't move forward in a different relationship. You're holding yourself hostage to a past relationship, because it takes a lot, you guys. It takes a lot to walk around hating a person. It takes a lot. That's one of the things I realized early on in my life. I'm not walking around here hating people, or walking around here being like who I don't like, who I'm not speaking to no more. I may X you out my life, but if I see you on the street, it's not like, oh, I'm not talking to her, I don't like her, but I'm going to speak. That's common courtesy. It's up to you if you choose not to speak back to me. I'm not going to hold the hate in my heart, because the hate holds you hostage to that past relationship. Then you can't ever move on to find or see your Mr. Right, because your Mr. Right could be right in your face, but because you're so focused on holding hate for somebody who hurt you, that you're not allowing yourself to get past that. So it's important to release that. If you learn nothing else from this, if you learn nothing else from this, You have to let go of the hate to get past, to grow, to find your new relationship. You have to. There's no way around it. Melanie, Auntie, your stripes has brought you to the diamond you are today. Thank you. I appreciate that a ton. Same here. I made the mistake that men you're talking about. I was that man who done what you're talking about. That was something I did, but that's not who I am today. And I agree with that. There's change sometimes, and this is a question for you too, Kenan, and I'm going to ask it here in just a second. I want you to answer it coming from a man perspective. So I'm going to say people do change. But if you've done so much hurt in your previous relationship that woman is so fed up, she may not give you an opportunity to rekindle that situation and fix it. So my question to you, Kenan, coming from a man's standpoint, did you ever address the past or the hurt that you created on the other person? Did you ever get a chance to apologize? Or did you find time just to work on you to make sure now you're the better man, so when you meet your next queen, you're where you need to be and you're not that old person that was out there? While we're waiting on him to answer that question, I'm going to read some more comments. Ms. Teresa said, "Amen, Melanie. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Kenneth, we are not responsible for each other's happiness, and you're responsible for your own happiness. If you don't create happiness for you, you can't get mad because your spouse didn't create it for you. You have to be happy for you. Each person in the relationship have to create their own happiness. A lot of time, us as women, we're so focused and we're so in love that we create the happiness for our man, but we're missing one point. Where is our happiness? We deserve to be happy. And so you have to make sure you create your own happiness for you." And so Teresa says, "So true, sissy." And then Kenneth's typing while he's doing that. We'll scroll down. We're not responsible, but we do play a part. We do. We play a part, and that's from Marchette. Hey, Marchette, I hope you're feeling good. We play a part because what we allow ourselves to do is we allow ourselves to continue to allow the hurt to happen. And then we've wasted so much time allowing that hurt to happen until when we look back at it, we're like, wow, I didn't realize I played a part in it. But we do. And that's why it's always key to know your rock bottom, because if you know your rock bottom moving forward, then you won't have to worry about that.
We have a question here from Tiana.
Mm-hmm.
It states, "Auntie Nella, can you talk about being evenly yoked?"
Mm-hmm.
She also wrote, "It seems like two people being saved is not enough. My experience is that if they don't have the same values or expectations in life,
yep,
they will always be at odds."
Absolutely. You will. And that's why, Tiana, it's always important to make sure moving into that relationship, you know everything you can know about your partner, and your partner needs to know everything you can about them. That's why I always tell people, don't dive headfirst into a relation. Don't dive headfirst into move into a relationship and then dive headfirst into marriage. Because a lot of times what happens is people are so gung-ho on the glorification of, being married. I want, this dress. I want this many girls. I want to make sure my wedding is the bomb.com. None of that matters. What matters is, once I walk down this aisle with this man, am I going to have a lifetime of happiness and love? I'm going to make sure the hurdles that come my way, I can jump them and I'm okay with them. So you have to make sure you're evenly yoked in a sense of what's your values, what's his values. If you guys have kids, what do he want from, the kids? What, kind of discipline methods that he want? I hear people, I had somebody come to me and say, you know what? I don't know what to do. My husband, when it comes down to the kids, he's so lackadaisy. He don't chastise them. He don't tell them anything. I feel like my kids look at me being as the mean parent and so on and so forth, and he looks as the hero. That's what we call evenly yoked.
All right.
Unevenly yoked.
All right. So Angela wrote, "So true." Kenneth wrote, "Unforgiveness is a disease that will kill you from inside and hurt others on the outside."
Yep.
Melanie wrote, "I find hate to hold you back on your blessing." Kenneth wrote, "I agree with that. Even if two are saved, the values of how one was brought up will be a conflict if they do not agree to disagree."
Correct.
Melanie wrote, "Wow, that's great. Create your in happiness."
Yep.
Kenneth wrote, and I think this is responding back to what you said here.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote, "Me and my ex-wife, we talk as friends today. First, I have to work on me ask for forgiveness. It took me 3 years before me and my ex-wife, I was able to talk on the phone as human beings without anger and pain. I respect her boundaries. She respects my boundaries. She's in another relationship, and it's okay. Marchette wrote, thank you on the men's. Well said. You can be unevenly yoked, not just spiritual. Marchette also wrote, Tiana, you're right. Kenneth also wrote, we need to know what we have in common as well as what we don't have in common, and to work on a common ground to agree to disagree. Her feelings, her emotions are valid and valuable in any relationship.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. I appreciate your responses because you know what? This gives us an insight because I often tell people this. You may go to a struggle in your life where you're disappointed in your past relationship. And because you're disappointed in your past relationship, you're so busy focused on holding that hate. Anything takes time, and you're absolutely right. You have to then work on you first. You have to figure out where you went wrong. But here's the thing. I don't ever want somebody to think just because the relationship split or you guys decided to go your separate ways, everything is on the other person. And because that happens a lot. Oh, he did it. Oh, she did it. You know, no one ever wants to own their wrongdoing. No one ever wants to own their mistakes. When a relationship crumbles, it's not always the fact that it's always one person. It can be a multitude of things that both of you guys created to create the demise of a relationship. So it's important to make sure. And I can almost tell you the fact that he had the opportunity to have that conversation with his ex 3 years later, and to release some of that. Oh, how great that weight was to be lifted off you. Because you walk around holding that, but you want to give yourself the opportunity to make it right. Because making it right allows you to move forward into a clean relationship with a clean slate, with a heart that's open and willing to love and love right. You get the opportunity to love somebody right. You get the opportunity to treat somebody right. You get the opportunity to value a person. You get the opportunity to make them feel like the king or queen they are today. And so that gives you no greater reassurance than that. Than making sure I've done everything I can do. Now here's the other thing. I'm going to flip just one other little quick thing. Sometimes when you go to a person and you apologize, they may not be in a space you are. They may not be willing to accept your apology. Don't feel bad about it and be like, you know what, I still hate her. No, just say, you know what, that person haven't had the chance to work on them, and others understand I'm coming from a place of, I'm sorry, I'm coming from a place that I need to apologize to you because I did you wrong, and be okay with that.
And you know what? Before wrapping up, I'm going to read some of these last comments that we have here. Kenneth wrote, we must clean up what we messed up as we begin to start life all over.
Yes.
Angela wrote, no, you got to own the things you allowed. Kenneth wrote, taking ownership, want to grow from the inside, and it will show on the outside.
Absolutely.
As they begin to look back and not wanting to make the same mistakes. Teresa wrote, I so love this topic tonight. My God, this was meant for me. Kenneth wrote, we must love the person in the mirror first before we can love anyone on the outside of it.
When I tell you, Kenneth, you're on the same point. I just said this a couple of weeks ago. If you don't love you and your glass is half full, how in God's heaven and earth you're going to now pour your love into somebody else? Because the half full glass that you have created is now completely empty. Because you have now poured your half filled glass of love that you have for yourself. You're poured that all into the next person. So now you have nothing to love yourself.
Tiana wrote, I agree. Me too. Janelle wrote, amen. Just because a person has a relationship with Christ doesn't mean that it's isn't healthy.
Absolutely.
Tiana wrote, amen. Mia wrote, great topic tonight. Kenneth wrote, but don't let anyone, once you know you have changed that you live in, accommodations of your mistakes you make.
Condemnation.
Condemnation, of mistakes you make. A mistake, you're not a mistake.
Correct.
And Angela wrote, speak.
Don't let anybody, and I'm going to wrap up on this, you guys, before we go on to the After Dark. And this is my final statement on this one for our topic tonight before we exit out of this.
Speak on it.
Go ahead and send me some likes while I'm speaking on this, but I want to say to you guys, it's important to make sure you've given your all in any relationship or marriage you're in. It's important for you to do that. If you've done everything that you can do, and what I mean by that is communicating to your spouse or your partner and letting them know the heartache that you're feeling, the things that you're seeing with your eyes that you think are unhealthy, and that is hurting you. If you've done everything that you can do to fight for your relationship, don't ever be a floor mat for anybody to trample all over you on a consistent basis. Stop it. Put a stop to it. Because here's the thing. I can't force you to stop somebody from walking over your heart if you're not willing to stand up and fight for your own heart. Fight for you. Fight for you. If you take nothing else out of this conversation, fight for you. 2018, put your boxing gloves on and fight to protect your heart. Allow your heart to continue to have the heartbeat that's healthy that it needs to have. Don't allow somebody to come in your territory and disrupt your heartbeat. Don't allow somebody to come in your territory and devalue you. Don't allow somebody to come in your territory and hurt you. It's not healthy on any platform. I don't care who you are, whether it's man, woman, whether you're in a relationship or in a marriage. Give them the advice or give them the information that you're given to let them know how you're feeling. And allow them to fix it. Allow them to react. But if they don't react to it, or if they're not willing to fix it, then you have to make a big girl and a big boy decision of which direction you want to go. I can't tell you which direction you want to go. All I can say is there's a decision that has to be made to protect you and your heart. With that being said, I'm going to say this was another awesome topic, you guys. I appreciate you guys a ton. You guys just don't know. I love doing this. And so I appreciate. I want you guys to, the way I show you love, I want you to show me that same love back. Continue to like my videos. Please share. Please share my videos. I appreciate when I see people sharing out. Go into the bottom of that comment and say thank you for sharing. But I appreciate you guys from doing that. Go to my YouTube channel, because as of March 1st, and I'm going to put this date out there, as of March 1st, I will be transitioning from Facebook Live to YouTube. I want you guys to make sure the conversation we're having currently today, we can have it on YouTube as well. And so I'm going to transition over there. Share. If you have any topics that you want to discuss, whether it's after dark or our relationship ones, feel free to come my way, and send them to my inbox. If you want to remain anonymous, you're welcome to do that. I've had in the beginning of doing this show, I had some people do me some Ask Auntie Nella letters. If you want to do that, kind of create a letter and send my way and say, hey, here's what, is going on in my life. What do you think? I'm happy to do that as well. So go ahead and continue to send those likes and share. I'll see you guys in 2.5 seconds. I'm going to log off right now and go to Ask Auntie Nella. I appreciate you guys. Love you. Have a good night. See you in After Dark.